diligent doesn't mean you're obsessed with more, more, more. It just means you're consistently putting in the effort. And then being content doesn't mean you stop growing. It means you appreciate the process while you're growing. Okay? Let's break this down into practical action steps that you can start applying today. So find this balance. Welcome to the Shattered Mindset Podcast, wisdom from life's turning points and defining moments. I'm your host, Melvin Larry. And look, we live in a world that constantly pushes us to want more success, more money, more growth. And don't get me wrong, ambition is a powerful thing. It drives innovation, it builds businesses and fuels greatness. But here's the thing, if we're always chasing the next big thing, we risk missing what's happening right now. So today, I want to talk about something I know a lot of us wrestle with. How do you balance ambition with contentment? How do you keep striving without feeling like you're never enough? It's never enough, whatever that is. Okay. And as I was preparing for this episode, I was reminded of something powerful. The Bible actually speaks directly to this. Now, this isn't a Bible message, but there are scriptures about the diligent being made rich and others about how laziness leads to lack. Some people might see that as somewhat harsh, but what if I told you it's actually two sides of the same truth? That's really what we're getting into today, the balance of ambition and contentment through both mindset principles and biblical wisdom. Ready? Okay. Well, let's start with understanding the conflict, why this balance matters. You see, ambition and contentment almost seem like opposites, don't they? All right. Ambition is about striving, reaching, pushing the limits. Contentment is about being satisfied, present, and grateful. But the mistake people make is thinking you have to choose one or the other. Either you're all about the grind or you're just happy where you are. But the truth, both can and should coexist. Here's the problem. If you're too ambitious without contentment, you'll always feel like you're falling short. No success will ever be enough. Now, at the same time, if you're too content without ambition, you risk settling for less than you're capable of. I mean, you actually stop growing. And that's where we're stuck. Either we burn out chasing more or we stall out being too comfortable. I've had my own challenges with this balance. Let me tell you a story. One of the biggest lessons I had to learn the hard way back when I stepped into senior management in corporate. I was hungry to prove myself. I worked crazy hours. I took on every challenge and pushed my team hard because I was determined to turn things around. And you know what? We did. We went from the worst operation to the first operation. But here's what I didn't see at the time. I was so locked in on the goal that I wasn't appreciating the progress. Even at our highest point, I was already focused on the next challenge. So I realized I wasn't really celebrating wins. I wasn't enjoying the journey. And this wasn't good for me or my teams. And it took someone else pointing it out for me to pause and ask myself, when is enough? And I've faced this in other things that I've done as well, pushing, uh, just trying to get to the next thing. Did the same thing in the network marketing space and entrepreneurship and pushing, and not taking the time to enjoy the journey. But then we'll talk about the other side of that also. So, I mean, just ask yourself, has it ever happened to you where you hit a goal, but instead of feeling fulfilled, you just move the goalpost further? And this is why this conversation matters. If we don't learn how to appreciate the process, we rob ourselves of joy, even in success. So, how can we actually balance this? Through a mindset shift, redefining success. Here's a fundamental shift in thinking. Success isn't just about what you achieve, it's about who you become in the process. Let's break it down. Okay. Define what enough looks like for you. All right. Yeah, not what society says, not what social media says, what truly matters to you. If you don't define enough, you'll always feel behind. Then learn to celebrate progress, not just the destination. If you don't pause to appreciate the journey, success will always feel empty to you. Next, you want to create seasons of ambition and seasons of rest. You don't have to be in go mode all the time. Growth has a rhythm: push, reflect, push again. All right? That makes sense? Listen, there are actually biblical principles of diligence and laziness. Let's bring this back to scripture because these ideas aren't new. They're actually ancient principles that have been true for generations. In the book of Proverbs 13:4 says, the diligent soul shall be made rich. And it says more detail, the soul of the sluggard desires and has nothing, but the soul of the diligent shall be made rich. Okay, well, look, here's what I take from this: desire alone isn't enough, action is required. A rich soul isn't just financial, it's about peace, wisdom, and purpose. If you're diligent in your efforts, results will come. And then Proverbs 19:15 and Proverbs 24 talks about the lazy person going hungry. Ugh. Look, it says the sluggard will not plow by reason of the cold, therefore he shall beg in harvest and have nothing. Okay, so here's my take from this. If you don't put in the effort, you won't reap the reward. Excuses don't create results. The diligent work through discomfort, while the lazy wait for perfect conditions. This is like asking the fireplace to give me some heat without me putting in any wood. Not going to happen. All right. So let's look closer at how these verses work together and are not a contradiction. Okay. Diligence and laziness are indeed opposites. One leads to increase and the other leads to lack. Being diligent doesn't mean you're obsessed with more, more, more. It just means you're consistently putting in the effort. And then being content doesn't mean you stop growing. It means you appreciate the process while you're growing. Okay? Let's break this down into practical action steps that you can start applying today. So find this balance. All right. These are simple, but I think powerful ways to ensure that ambition and contentment work together in your life. You can start with practicing gratitude without complacency. A lot of people struggle with gratitude because they think it means they have to stop striving for more. But gratitude isn't about stopping, it's about recognizing what you already have while you continue to build. Try this. Every morning, write down three things you're grateful for. But here's the twist: don't just list them, take 60 seconds to really reflect on why they matter. Then, throughout the day, pause when you catch yourself complaining and shift to gratitude. Think about that. Instead of only focusing on future goals, then celebrate what you've already accomplished. Hey, listen, you got a lot to be gratitude or thankful for. See, gratitude is fuel. It doesn't slow you down, it keeps you going. Next, work like it depends on you and trust like it depends on God. It really does. Okay. There's a balance between faith and action. Some people wait on God to move when they haven't even taken a step themselves, not a single step. Others work so hard that they leave no room for faith. I got this. All right, God, I got this. All right. Look, but both are needed. Here's how to apply that. Okay. Take bold action, but pray for wisdom along the way. Stop waiting for a perfect sign. Sometimes the sign is your own opportunity to move. If doors aren't opening, ask yourself, have I not? Have I prepared? Faith without action is just wishful thinking, and action without faith leads to burnout and frustration. Okay. So define enough so you don't have to chase, all these endless goals, right? One of the biggest traps ambitious people fall into is never defining what success actually looks like. So no matter what they achieve, it never feels like enough. All right. So try this. Write down your definition of success. What does a fulfilled life look like for you? Be specific. Then break it into season. You might not reach your ultimate goal today, but what does a win look like for this season? Go back and check in regularly. Every few months or so, reassess. Am I chasing progress or am I just chasing more? If you don't define enough for you, you'll always feel behind. So stop waiting for perfect conditions. This goes right back to that scripture in Proverbs 24. The sluggard would not plow, but by reason of the cold, therefore he shall beg and harvest and have nothing. The people who get the most done aren't the ones who had the perfect circumstances. They're the ones who started before they felt ready. Les Brown says, make your move before you're ready. Okay. Now, here's how to break out of waiting mode. Okay. Or to break out of waiting mode. Let me put it that way. Identify one thing you've been putting off. That's one. And take the first small step today. Challenge yourself to move forward despite discomfort. Success is built in imperfect situations. Stop over planning and over researching. At some point, you just have to start. It's been said that ignorance on fire is better than knowledge on ice. If you wait for perfect conditions, you'll be waiting forever. There is no perfect condition. Now, you've also got to make rest a part of the process. Ambitious people often resist rest. Here's the reality though, if you never stop to recharge, you'll eventually break down. When your body wants to rest, it's gonna break down whether you like it or not. It's just gonna shut down and you're like, okay, what happened? I don't know. I just was going, and boom, now I'm down. All right. Look, even God rested, not because he needed to, but because he was setting a pattern for us. Here are some ways to build rest into your process. Schedule downtime. We schedule everything. Schedule downtime. If you don't plan it, it won't happen. Then detach yourself from productivity guilt. Rest is not wasted time, it's fuel for your next step. Use your rest intentionally. Reflect, reset, and refocus instead of just numbing out with distractions. See, true success isn't just about working hard, it's about working sustainably. Here's my closing thought and takeaway for this message. Okay. The bottom line, you don't have to choose between ambition and contentment. You just need to learn how to hold both at the same time. The Bible makes it clear. Diligence leads to abundance, and laziness leads to lack. That's not a contradiction, it's just wisdom. So take a moment today, pause, reflect, appreciate where you are, and then when you're ready, get back to building. So until the next time, keep adapting, keep evolving, and keep reaching for those new horizons. I'll see you next time on the Shattered Mindset podcast. Take care, take charge. God bless.